Alright, Schlockmeister fans. Not Horror High, but Stanley. Let's check it out. The actor Chris Robinson, he plays a Native American named Tim, and he's just captured himself a rattlesnake.
Looking at myself, seems like I'm changing.
So what does Timmy do with that snake? He keeps them. He loves them. They are his pets.
Got something for you.
Tim's got a lot of snakes, actually. Not just rattlers.
I know. You all want to look for a few these days.
He has an offer to come back to
our village. Live with us.
Indian reservation.
Help us survive a few more decades.
I'm working on a trading post. If I get married, have the tourists gawk at my wife and children?
No.
He also has an offer to hunt snakes.
Why in the hell didn't you give me a call at the factory? I told you you had a job there whenever you wanted it, didn't I?
It's Alex Rocco.
Oh, come on, boy. You're not holding a grudge because of what happened to your father, are you?
They killed his father, which may or may not have been an accident.
After all, you did kill the boy's father.
He was sitting in some bushes, and he started moving.
Real?
Yeah, Mr. Tompkins, we killed him.
White man.
Offer rejected.
I don't need you. I'll get those snakes with or without you. It's your choice and your loss, so don't make the wrong choice.
Come on, Krill, let's get out of here.
15, 20
He does collect snakes for the doctor to make serum from.
We're quickly replenishing our supply of serum. It's ironic, isn't it, that we need the poison from a snake to create serum in order to combat the poison from that same snake.
Take it off.
He also provides snakes for this burlesque dancer to use in her act.
Take it off.
It's okay. Rotten publicity for a rotten act.
Gloria, just be nice to my snakes, okay?
He comes across a truck of the people that Alex Rocco hired to hunt snakes. They've captured some, so he releases them. They don't take too kindly to that, and they get into a fight with him.
Incriminate his own father. Now you pay full attention, boy. There's no accident. There's no accident. We shot your father.
While they admit to killing his father, Stanley, his favorite rattler, sneaks up on him and bites him in the ass.
You're getting to be some nice-looking girl, Susie.
That's his daughter.
Come on, cool it, Dad. I'm your daughter, remember? Not one of your cheap young ladies you just said goodbye to.
Come on, Susie, don't talk to me that way, please. Why am I lucky?
Well, we had a little trouble in the glades yesterday.
What do you call little trouble?
We caught that dumb Indian bastard turning all our snakes loose. We brought you out here to capture snakes, remember?
They bring
Help
some.
us kill an Indian if he gave us any trouble.
They bring some help this time.
That's what you're getting double time for. Not to kill us, understand? Get more snakes in there.
So they gather up a ton of snakes. Unbeknownst to them, Timmy's watching.
You know,
They spotted him, but then he lured them into some quicksand. And now they're stuck.
Stanley. Bite his hand.
What do you want me to do?
Meanwhile, the hippie hunter guy who's with them to give them protection finds Timmy's house and kills Hazel, Stanley's wife, and their 3 baby snakes.
Hazel. Hazel?
Bastard, you killed Hazel!
They get into a fight, which looks like the guy's about to win, but Stanley comes then. Heartbroken, he buries Hazel and the 3 baby snakes and gives them little crosses and graves.
Realize with 7 shows a week, an extra show.
She's biting the heads off of snakes in her act now.
I'm gonna be biting the heads off of 9 snakes a week.
So Timmy pays them a visit. He finds out.
Kindness, too much to ask from people.
He then pays a visit to Alex Rocco. Freeze frame. And then for good measure, he kidnaps her daughter. And guess why?
What do you want?
Kill you in the Garden of Eden. I need an Eve in my garden.
He needs an Eve at his Garden of Eden. He brings her home.
What's that?
That's Hazel. He's killed by your father's hunters, too.
A snake.
Just his enemy. He likes you, says.
So they kiss and she spends the night, or are they like a couple now? I killed your daddy. Want to be my girlfriend?
You doing all the killing, the dirty work for him? Well, he played God over right and wrong. You're doing the same thing here. These snakes are just your slaves while you play God, deciding who's bad and good.
She's not interested in him and wants to leave. So he sicks Stanley on her. None of the snakes are listening to him. So he takes his anger out on the snakes. Finally, Stanley has had enough of his shit. Susie gets out. Timmy does too, a little worse for wear.
Maybe in hell. I'll find out what I am.
All right, let's talk about Stanley. Now, this is a movie I've had in my collection. I had on a VHS tape. I rented it and copied it, I think, from a place called City News and Video in Manitowoc, Wisconsin, probably back in 1986 or so. And it just got a Blu-ray release because Horror High came out on Blu-ray. Now, this is one of my all-time favorite horror movies. I watch this one at least once a year. So I needed that in blue, so because I got that, I got Stanley. I hadn't seen this movie in a long time. And honestly, even though I know I've seen it at least once, maybe twice at the most, I didn't remember anything about this movie. Literally nothing. I was kind of confusing it with the movie Spasms, which has some snake stuff in it too. But no, this is a completely different film. Nothing rang a bell at all. So what we have here is this Native American named Tim. He lives out in the Everglades somewhere, and he lives with a bunch of snakes. He's friends with them. He loves them. They're his pets. Stanley is his main one. Hazel's another snake. They end up having some baby snakes along the way. Now, he collects snakes for local doctor who, makes serum from their from the poison that the venom, I should say. he's very protective of his snakes. So then when these hunters come by, they want to hire him to hunt some snakes for him for, snake skin material and stuff. And he refuses. He shoos them away. But later on, he has a run-in with those hunters. Apparently, those hunters killed his father at one point in the past, too. They were found innocent of it. There seems to be some discrepancy whether they did it on purpose, it was an accident, whatever. A couple things come out, but it's never still quite clear. Because at one point, the killer says he did it on purpose, but then later on, he denies that again. So I don't know. Anyway, the two hunters come back. They're hunting in there, and this guy here, Tim, is stalking them. They end up falling in some quicksand, and he puts one of his snakes in after them to bite them, but before he can bite them, they sink and they die, which actually isn't quite real. It's not really how quicksand works, despite what television has taught us over the years. But anyway, the two hunters brought this other guy with them, this hippie guy, to basically protect them. He's wandering around away from them, and he ends up wandering into Tim's home or his shack or whatever the heck he lives in, finds a bunch of snakes in there and kills some of them. He kills Hazel, kills the 3 baby snakes. Well, when Tim comes back, they get into a big fight, and the guy ends up getting bit by a snake, and then he dies. Tim then buries Hazel and puts little crosses up like graves for the 3 babies as well. Later on, he goes after Alex Rocco, who basically sent the hunters, kills him by throwing some snakes in the pool, and they bite him. And then he kidnaps Alex Rocco's daughter because he says he needs an Eden for his he needs an Eve for his Eden. I guess that's what it said. Or he needs a princess for his Eden. I don't know. Can't remember how exactly he put that. But at this point, we assume that up until this point, we didn't think Tim was crazy. He was just nuts about his snakes. But now he's nuts. So he brings her there. Now, even though she saw him kill her father, she's okay with it. Now, she didn't have the best relationship with her dad, but he was rich and she lived there. And I'm sure she loved him in some regard, but she seems to fall right for this guy. And they end up spending the night together. Wasn't quite sure whether they slept together or not, but the next morning she basically yells at him, tells him he's nuts, that sort of thing. And he says, "You're just you're treating the snakes as slaves yourself. You couldn't even kill my dad on your own. You had to use your snakes to do it." So he starts getting mad at her, and then he orders his snakes to kill her. They refuse. The snakes refuse to do it. So then he takes a couple of his snakes, starts slamming them around on the floor and banging them against the wall and killing them. And then he tries to force the snakes to bite her. They refuse again. And then Stanley, his main snake, bites him in the face instead. Then a fire starts. She runs out. He stumbles out, kind of burnt and stuff. And then he basically dies saying, I guess I'll find out what I am when I'm in hell or something like that. And that's how our movie ends. So that is Stanley. A little long, hour and 47 minutes, I think it was. No nudity, could have used some of that. There was actually a couple of decent looking women in this movie too. I'm guessing this was PG. I'm not sure. There was some blood. There was more like snake violence than anything else, because we do see some dead snakes. And I guess I can't be for sure, but I think some snakes were killed in the making of this movie. Or they were some pretty decently looking fake snakes, put it that way. But yeah, I think they killed some snakes. But anyway, that's it. It's Stanley. It's an okay film. Like I said, it's just a little bit long. Could have been maybe 15, 20 minutes shorter and it'd be better, but it's fine. It's a little long. It's available. I think I actually have both of these movies, Horror High and Stanley, on a compilation CD with horror movies, like with 8 other films or something like that. But they're available on this Blu-ray too. I gotta say, the good folks at Vinegar Syndrome have put this out. Stanley looks utterly fantastic. The picture quality is great. The picture quality for Horror High, really good too, just not as good as Stanley. Stanley's is even better, although Horror High has a bunch of cool extras on it. But anyway, I'm digressing. That's just happens to be one of my favorite movies. Anyway, that's Stanley. I will leave a link to it on Amazon if it's available on Amazon at this point, or otherwise it probably will be later. I'll leave a link to something. Check it out, leave some comments, let me know what you think, and you should definitely buy this movie, if for anything, to get Horror High. Watch it. Bye. Stanley's good too, though.